everybody, and welcome. We're back after a while to Welcome to Bill Has Opinions. So, the drinking show with a Gen X problem. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions. Ahoy, hoy. Ahoy, hoy.
That's what Alexander Graham Bell wanted you to answer the phone like.
Yes. I do remember that, actually.
Yeah?
I do.
There was Mr. Burns answers the phone that way in The Simpsons. We'll talk a lot about that today.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of opinions about The Simpsons, so we'll get there. But hi, we've been gone for a while. We've had a little hiatus. I was out of town for 2 Mondays, and then it was the holiday, and then I was sick as fuck. So, but now we're back.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
I'm good.
How's your last month been?
It's it's not been without drama, but it's getting better. And I got the whole basement rec room thing almost finished now.
Nice.
So
I sent you a mustard colored couch the other day.
I did see that. I forwarded it to Emily, and she did not love it. I don't know. Actually, so I think we've decided now the couch is green again.
Okay.
Because we got a side chair that's mustard now, and she doesn't want to do too much of the same, you know?
That's fair. That's fair.
So now the couch is back to being not mustard because there's a side chair that is mustard, right? We actually moved. We have those Scandinavian loungy chairs. We have one that came with the house. It's actually one of the few things we kept aside from the book collection.
But that kind of look like the next generation pilot chairs. Like they're really slopey.
Kind of slopey.
Yeah.
The only thing wrong with it was that the old lady who lived there, of course, smoked like a chimney. So we had to throw all the cushions away. But the chair itself remained, and we've had a hell of a time finding cushions that fit. But this year, Target actually had cushions that fitted.
Oh, yeah.
So we bought one on a whim. We bought one of them on a whim that was mustard yellow. Took it home, threw it in the chair. Oh, it fits. Ha! It's the right size. So we went. So we're gonna go back and buy the other one for the back, and then it'll be perfect. And,
right.
Anyway, then we've recushioned our nice chair. So we're moving that chair from the living room down to the basement, and then anyway, yeah, that's probably more than anybody gives a shit. So
hey, I give a shit.
You give a shit.
I do give a shit.
If anybody else wants to talk about it, if you feel free to DM me, and I'll show you pictures of our basement rec room that we're working on.
Well, there's another antique shop. It's not new, so it doesn't sound like I've discovered it, but I have not been there before, and I'm surprised I haven't. So I want to go over there, and if they have anything, I will send you pictures.
We saw some really cool stuff. There's a place on Swananoa River Road, past the Antique Tobacco Barn, and there's another antique store, and then that's actually like a long building. Yeah. It's got 2 or 3 things in it.
The Atomic one? Yes, Atomic is really cool, but it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, but I saw several things in there
that
I adored. Yes.
Absolutely. But I was like, are these my budget? Yeah, we went through there when we were looking for the liquor cabinet we have in our living room. We went through there first, and we're like, we like this one, we like this one, we like this one, we like this one.
I would buy one of everything.
But they're like, $1,000 a piece, and so we went over to the regeneration station, which I do like.
Yeah.
And we
found
one
something
for like
there every other week.
Yeah, we found one for like $150 that would also work, and actually, it's what we have, and it's beautiful, and I love it. But because it was $150, we could paint it. Yeah. Whereas like the $1,000 pieces,
you're not touching that.
No, it's going to be the way it is, right? That's it.
Although I will say for the stuff that's in the place that everything's $1,000, it's all perfect the way it is. You're like, I love
absolutely, yeah. It's not busted up and
yes, it needs no work,
no water damage, none of that.
Yeah,
none of that.
I think they've already refurbished most. It looked like they've already put new cushions and that kind of thing on it. So that's why you go in and you see it and you go, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they have a whole post. Yeah, not that this is a advertisement for Atomic, but yeah, they reupholster right there on site and stuff. So everything's really nice. Anyway.
Yeah.
We were in Seattle for a week, and it was really nice. And then we came home and got really sick, and at least we got really sick during the holiday week. So
yeah,
we didn't have anything else to do.
Gotcha.
So it was fine.
I mean, you already had a day off of work, so there was that, right?
I mean, I don't get a day off of work because I work for myself.
Okay.
My boss doesn't give me holidays.
You don't take. Okay.
I don't get paid. I don't get paid for federal holidays.
That's true. You
So,
don't get. You don't get. You don't get. Yeah.
If I don't work, I don't get paid. So,
That's fair.
but I did not work for almost 2 weeks without meaning to. So
Okay.
now I'm playing catch up, which is fun when you're self-employed. But I'm doing it. It's good.
Yeah.
So, pardon me if I cough a little bit during this what do we call it? A podcast?
Yeah. Whatever we
Video
call
stream, live streaming,
it. Yeah.
our show.
Vlog. I don't know what the hell it is. I never know what to call it.
I don't know. I'll call it a podcast. If you want to just listen to it without
Yeah.
watching it, you can do that.
That's right.
fine.
You can put on the audio and listen to it in the background.
Absolutely. You'll miss some of the visual jokes.
Sure, but you'll hear all the audio jokes.
Yes, you will. So anyway, speaking of audio jokes, we're funnier when we're drunk. So what are you drinking there?
Right now, I'm drinking a Rabbit from Asheville Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
I pre-gamed with a couple of Lagunitas Light IPAs. I don't remember what the actual name of it was. Something Day Light IPA.
Yeah.
I don't really like IPAs, but that one is really. I bought it because of the ABV and the calorie count.
Right.
But it's only got just enough hoppiness just to be crisp. It's not like bam, which is surprising for Lagunitas because most of their stuff's pretty hoppy.
They tend to be pretty hoppy.
But this one, because it's a light beer, basically, it's really tasty. So
I think I've had it before. It probably was since last year, but I think I've had it before. But we should go get some more.
And you're drinking?
Well, it's summer.
Yeah.
When in summer. So I've got some Bell's Oberon.
Yeah.
Here, and that's
a nice
what I'm drinking.
sunny drink for a sunny day.
American Wheat Ale for a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
I think it's not quite summer until you've had an Oberon for the season.
Yeah.
So
I started drinking Oberons like 2 months ago. As soon as
they come out.
As soon as they appear on tap somewhere, I'm like, well, we'll have that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have already had a couple this season.
I've already tapped out 3 kegs at the Purple Onion, I believe. So,
nice.
So,
but then, Bill, you brought us this.
Yeah, I don't expect to like it, but it's Bojangles Hard Sweet Tea, which has been showing up at the grocery store, and I keep walking past it. And so here's the thing. I bought it because I like Bojangles, not because I like this sounds disgusting.
It really does.
I mean, it's one of those malt drinks. I don't expect to like it, but I also just I'd walk past it so many times.
I didn't know this. It's actually brewed by a local brewery. Maybe it's not so terrible.
It would have to be, at least state local because Bojangles is out of North Carolina. So,
Appalachian Mountain Brewery, they're a really good brewery. I like a lot of their stuff. So I'm curious.
Maybe it'll be better than we expect.
Maybe.
I've got very low expectations.
I brought us very tiny glasses.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have the cordial glasses for it.
Hey, if it's good and we pour ourselves multiple eyedropper glasses.
And then I'm going to drink this also, this Sierra Nevada Sunny little thing. This is one of the few... Well, one of the 4 Sierra Nevada beers that I like. I had, what?
I think it's a clone of this. I think it's meant to kind of taste like it.
Kind of is.
Yeah.
You know what? I was at the beer garden in Hendersonville last week, and they have a beer called Summerfest, which is kind of like an Oktoberfest, but...
Oh, yeah. I've had their Summerfest. Yeah.
It's pretty good, too.
Yeah. I like Summerfest.
I drank a lot of that also. But anyway, I usually hate... Sierra Nevada, aside from a handful of seasonals that they do well.
Right.
I don't know why they do seasonals well, and everything else they're like, hey, taste these hops. Like you'll get a porter from them and you're like, hey, it's a very hoppy porter. Awesome.
Oh yeah, no, this is actually good. I was about to say this. This is brewed by Appalachian Mountain Brewing. They just bought their brewery back from InBev last month.
Weird.
Which is huge. So they didn't mean to sell to InBev, but they sold to a holding company that then sold to InBev. And they're like, what the fuck? That's not what we meant. And they just bought it back, which is huge.
Holding companies are worse though, because their whole deal is just to they're just trying to make money. Yeah. So you can't ever if you sell to a holding company, you basically given up on the whole thing.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. But no, that's pretty important in local news because they're out of Boone, right?
Yeah.
So, pretty important
good
news
for them.
Yeah. So we'll see how this. I don't know when we're gonna pour it. Will we finish this or?
Point.
Are you afraid?
I don't care.
Is that why?
Do it whenever. I don't know.
Well, all right. Now that we've talked about beers, we're getting a little bit sauced. Today's episode is about essential pop culture references. Sure. And this one comes out of the fact that we are both Gen Xers and, there's a lot of movie references and TV references and things that will just come up in conversation when you talk to a Gen Xer.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, to be fair, I would like to preface Exactly. I'd like to preface your monologue with most of our references are exceptionally dated. And most of them are going to be from our formative years.
Probably.
Whereas, like your son or other young people will have different references that are their formative years. But that's just how it works, right?
Right.
So why don't you give us a little intro?
Sure. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word, life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you there's something else. Cultural literacy. That's what I think this is really about, is like, knowing some stuff, being well-rounded, knowing some things, and knowing when things are alluding to other things, right?
Sure.
That's kind of what, so the onus of all this, I think, I assume that this was based on that thing I told you about a while back where
you created a list for your son.
I created a list for my son of things he should know about because a couple Christmases ago, I was shopping for some, I was looking like, what's a cool present for, a teenage boy? And there was this thing on the internet and it was a poster. It was a poster that had a scratch off, and it was like the top 100 movies you need to see or something like that. And I was looking at it and I was like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool. Although I disagree with about 4 of the movies on the thing. Because it had Forrest Gump as one of them. And I was like, I don't really think you need to see Forrest Gump. That's kind of like, it was relevant for a minute when it came out, but I really don't feel like it aged well. And I don't think it matters in the scheme of things,
Yeah. No,
so
I don't
there were a
disagree.
couple like that, and I was like, oh, you know what? That's dumb because I don't agree with all the movies on it. And also, why pay $20 for a fucking poster with just a list on it, basically?
Sure.
I was like, the hell with this. So what I did was I got him a notebook, and I started writing down all these things, like here's books you ought to read, and here's movies you ought to see, and TV shows you ought to watch, and songs you ought to listen to, and all this kind of shit, I even went as far like here's some shit you ought to do, like like just things that will enrich your life, basically, and I put it all in this book. And then we used to pass the book back and forth. Every time he came to visit, I'd write some new things in the book because I'd remember a few things that I forgot, and then gradually I was like, why am I doing it this way? That's fucking old school as hell. And so I basically opened an Excel spreadsheet with multiple tabs now, and it's online, and that way I can edit it in real time, and we can both get to it. And he can strike it off when he's watched it, and then and then I'll know, he watched that, and then we can talk about it.
That's hilarious. And this is a little aside, but my sister and I have a similar spreadsheet. It's not about pop culture references, but because she's 11 years older than me, we have a spreadsheet about things that we do the same, like a nature versus nurture thing.
Okay.
And there are some things that are really weird that we both have a tendency to do.
Yeah.
Like a natural fear of down escalators.
Only down though?
Only down. I can go up an escalator, no problem, but down escalators,
I can't because you can't.
I don't have any depth perception.
What about if you're on an up one and you turn around and look backwards? Does that not bother you?
Well, I don't.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. Next time you're on that big one in Atlanta.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It
probably would.
That one actually disorients me when you're going up because it's so steep.
Yes.
And it's weird. We're talking about there's the Peachtree Station in Atlanta. And you get off the train at Peachtree Station in Atlanta. There's the world's steepest and longest escalator.
It truly is. And then what makes it weirder is there's subway tiles on the wall.
Oh yeah.
But the subway tiles follow the angle.
They laid them so that they're parallel to,
which totally throws off your perception.
Because that's why it makes you feel like you're leaning.
You're leaning. Absolutely. Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah, if they'd done them straight up and down.
Exactly. It would have we would have felt like, if they'd been stacked. They did it because it was easier because they didn't have to cut them.
Yeah,
to
they
go
just
up this
started
way.
at the escalator and went that
Exactly.
way. But it's cuckoo pants.
It is. It's absolute. But yes, no. So my sister and I have a spreadsheet. So I love the idea of a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But our spreadsheet is just like, we grew up in different decades, even though we had the same parents, in completely different experiences. But it's amazing, like the weird little things we have in common.
Yeah. What generational trauma you grab?
Yeah, exactly. That's precisely correct. Yes. So I love the
All
idea
right.
of doing a shared. So that's an aside about the shared spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So obviously we have a lot of. Once again, we have more content than we could possibly talk about in an hour. So let's bounce over here and talk about our who we're gonna promote this week.
Okay.
And we've thrown this one up a few times in the last little while because it's very timely.
Right.
But it's June, right?
It is.
So we all know it's Rainbow Month.
Uh-huh.
And very, very importantly, is this may be the most important Pride Month
ever.
Yeah. I mean, other than the first one.
Well, yeah. Or the one prior to gay marriage, maybe.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like,
sure.
I don't know how much Pride Month actually influenced a Supreme Court decision.
No, I don't think Pride Month did. But, I mean, acceptance did, which is, of course, what Pride Month is for. But it is Pride Month. It's where all of your corporate companies turn rainbow for the month, including Bill Has Opinions.
In countries where it's acceptable.
Correct, yes. Yeah. And, but more importantly is right now, today, our trans and gay friends and family are under attack more than they've ever been before. So I want to point out the ACLU Drag Defense Fund. Of course, go to the ACLU and support that. Also the HRC, which I did not make a little graphic for, but the HRC does great work. So definitely check them out.
Either one of those.
It's extremely important. It's extremely important if you see something, say something. If somebody tells you that they're like, well, I don't understand the they thems, you tell them what the fuck.
Yeah.
So we do understand the they thems, and I support the they thems, and I support all people and all pronouns and all sexualities and whatever they want. Does not matter.
Right.
Whoever they are.
I saw that the New York Pride Parade had a asexual person as their grand marshal this year, which that's visibility for that whole thing.
Absolutely. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. So like the entire LGBTQIA plus community, Bill Has Opinions supports you. We don't just have a pride flag up on our social media because it's, well, we do, because we also understand how ridiculous it is.
We're kind of goofing on the whole idea of corporate putting a rainbow on things,
but at the same time, we are also
we also believe in the rainbow. So it's
right.
It's a joke within a joke, or it's a joke, but also not a joke.
It's a commentary on social culture.
It's is there not some truth in jesting?
Yes. No, I think there is. And I think that's a big part of the Pride movement too. Like most, drag queens, I love drag, and drag pokes fun at itself. Right. Like it's important that it does. That's part of the culture. So yes, definitely support your gay and trans friends and family, LGBTQIA in any way you can. Yes. Because it is more important than ever. People are under attack in many states. There are almost 500 anti-LGBTQ
bills in
the legislatures around the country. So yeah, definitely
it's cuckoo pants. That of all the things going on, that's the most important thing we like to deal with right now.
Oh, you know why?
I do know why. It's because 100% because they got their way with abortion and they moved on to the next damn thing.
Absolutely. All these single issue voters who were like, abortion, blah, 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 babies, what?
I wondered, actually, I said this out loud, I think, after the abortion thing. I was like, well, now that they got their way, what are they going to do? Because they're not going to have that harp on. And I guess they showed me. We'll find another petty bullshit thing to beat to the ground,
Indeed. So let's fuck it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck it up. All right. So let's continue talking about some pop culture references.
Sure.
I don't even know where to start. Where do we want to start? The America's Greatest Movies. I have a little short list of my references, and most of them are like, the best part about my pop culture references, and none of them are pop culture. Like they're things I know.
Some of mine are kind of like that. Like they're like vague underground pop culture, you know, like aside, I mean, I've probably got a few, but yeah. So here's the thing. Here's a funny one that I do a lot. There was a commercial. I should have sent you this. There was a commercial, I want to say, I don't know, in the 90s, 2000s, for Bush's Baked Beans with a talking dog.
Absolutely. I do it all the time.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
We did it on one of our episodes when we did our clips episode. You totally busted that out. But yes, it is.
I say it every time when me and my son sit down to watch a movie together. Like I'll have him pause it for a moment while I go to get a beer or whatever. When I come back, I'll say, "Okay, roll that beautiful bean footage." And I've done it so much now that he says it,
right? And he doesn't even know why.
Yeah, and then his friends are like, "The fuck," you know? And like,
absolutely.
Like at least when I say it, my friends know the reference because they saw the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
But and another, I must love dog commercials because another one I like is, "Hey, look, Mom, Tubby learned a new trick."
Yeah, I remember that one too. Absolutely.
And I do that whenever I see a dog dragging its ass around on the ground.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I agree with all those. And then I also have a shared experience with other people who grew up in Southeast Michigan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like there's a number of commercials that were only in Southeast Michigan. So like we're the only people that know what they are. And some of them, like when we were just in when we were in Seattle, our friend that we went to visit, who Matt's known forever, he busted something out, and I was like, "Dude, that's like," and I know
your zoo commercial you were talking about.
The zoo commercial. I think the one he referenced was it's too complicated to explain to you. But there was this commercial that talked. It was a car dealership called Birmingham's, which is a city in Detroit, but it was located in Troy. Like the actual car dealership called Birmingham was in the city of Troy, but Birmingham is another city. So there was this old confusing moment of our childhood where this commercial jingle told you that Birmingham's in Troy, and none of us knew where the fuck Birmingham's was because we knew it was a city and we knew Troy was a city, but this commercial told us it was the same place.
Oh, and you were
it's very complicated.
Geographically confusing.
Yes, very geographic. So anyway, so he busted that out and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's pull out this 100 greatest movies, right?
Sure.
We won't go through all 100. But there are some, like, and some of these are definitely out of our reference, but older than us.
Yeah, but I think it's important to see them. Like, my list for my son actually goes back way back in the day. You know, so I think these are important too. I think all these, I don't know if all of these are on the list, but a great many will be on his list also, you know?
Sure. And some of and these are in no particular order because they're not in, you know,
you don't think they're
date order?
I think
they're not.
I think they're in an order about what they think is like this was the best.
Oh yeah, it is.
Movie ever
it
made
is in that order, but it's not in date order, so I can't give you that. So I'm gonna skip. But if you see something you want that I'm not saying, you should mention it. I think the first one we need to mention is Casablanca.
You don't think the first one is important?
Citizen Kane?
You don't think that's important at all?
It's important, but I don't like it.
Okay.
But sure, it's important.
I say it's important because if you've seen Citizen Kane and then you watch anything by Tim Burton, you'll go, ha ha ha, look, he's ripping that shot off.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. No, Citizen Kane, yes, I agree. It is one of 100 America's
He didn't
greatest
rip
movies.
that shot off one time. I think I've seen it in 7 of his fucking movies. That shot, and then also the shot of the windmill in Frankenstein. He rips that one off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which is down on this list.
Yeah.
But
fucking
so
hack.
I did skip. I did skip to Casablanca because I think as far as references go,
here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah, exactly. And all the things about
all the
Casablanca.
crazy things we did.
Exactly. The Godfather is number 3. I will tell you that's also a movie I do not like, but it is an important movie. I think it's a movie that people need to, you know.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't love The Godfather.
I really do like the Godfather movies. I like all gangster movies for some reason. I don't know why I do.
It's like the way I like Westerns. I don't know why I like Westerns. I just like Westerns.
Yeah, I like Westerns also.
Yeah. Gone with the Wind, obviously, there are some very important lines.
Yeah, but I don't give a damn.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's I don't care about Lawrence of Arabia because Sir Laurence Olivier can kick rocks with his appropriation. Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home.
Plus, without Wizard of Oz, you wouldn't have Wicked.
Right, or a bunch of things.
Sure, maybe. Oh, The Wiz also.
The Wiz, for sure. I actually love The Wiz.
Yeah.
The Wiz, it would air on TV. Like, Wizard of Oz would air on TV when we were kids, like
around Easter.
Yeah, in the springtime. And then The Wiz would air around like Thanksgiving.
Huh.
Because it takes place on Thanksgiving.
I don't think I've ever seen The Wiz.
Oh,
I mean, I know some of the songs from it, which I don't know how I know them because I haven't seen it. But
you should watch it.
I
just watched it again for the first time. Matt was out of town a year or so ago when he took the bar exam, and so I was home alone. And my goal was to watch every musical I could find on streaming television.
Oh gosh!
And I watched the Wiz, which I had seen and then I remembered that it was a Thanksgiving movie because the opening scene all takes place in Thanksgiving. It's really fun. It's a good movie.
So that's what they play. Okay, it's kind of like how they always play Alice's Restaurant on Thanksgiving because it mentions
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes. The Graduate is the next one on this list. You know, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah. Are you trying to seduce me?
Yeah, I'm gonna skip a couple because I know they're important, but I'm gonna skip.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Unless there's something you want. The next one I would mention is this one.
Number 15?
Number 15, Star Wars, obviously, especially our generation.
Yeah, sure.
I was born in 75. My entire life was described.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
I mean, everything about it.
Speaking of, actually, that's one of the things I reference a lot of is Saturday Night Live skits, especially during certain time periods. I want to say from the mid 80s until the mid 90s, probably that whole period. I will throw out references, and then also similarly, the State references. If anybody remembers the State, I remember
the State. Yeah.
Oh, and sometimes Kids in the Hall references also. So I love skit comedy. Apparently, yes. I'm squishing your head, crushing your head. Yeah.
Crashing your head.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And and yeah, my Saturday Night Live, and I think everybody has their Saturday Night Live era.
Yeah.
Like everybody who watches it like their form, like as soon as you're old enough to stay up to midnight.
Yeah.
To the time you just stop watching.
Right.
And some people never stop watching, but I stopped watching eventually. But like my era,
I'll catch highlights once in a while. Sometimes if somebody says something was very good last week, I'll go back. And right now my thing is I go back on Monday and I watch Weekend Update, which is always funny. And then I watch the skits that are not topical. I've found that the topical skits don't age well. They're not funny anyway. They're just smug and kind of. I don't know. They're not usually funny. I like the weird shit. The ones that are more surreal, like it's just a crazy concept, are the ones that are funny, that last.
Right.
Like one of my favorite skits of all time was this one about this Euros place. and I remember the first one, I think it had Jason Alexander was the guest star.
Oh, right.
And he said he goes back up to ask for a little extra juice to put on his Euro. And the guy's like, "You like the juice, eh? The juice is good, eh?" And it went on they really beat it into the ground, which is like a comedy thing I like.
Right.
Which is like Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is a Steve Martin movie where he beats a lot of jokes into the ground. I'm gonna open that. It's bow time.
It is bow time.
Okay, speaking of local things that you don't like, I'm sure our fans who don't live around here, Bojangles is a chicken joint.
It doesn't even look good.
Ostensibly up the Mid-Atlantic area, kind of,
Yeah.
And it's out of North Carolina.
Oh, this is not. I already don't like it. I smelled it. I don't like it. I don't like sweet tea anyway.
I'm surprised. Actually, it tastes surprisingly just like sweet tea.
Yes.
Like very fucking sweet tea. Okay, so here's the thing.
Very sweet tea.
I'll say I usually get my sweet tea cut like with.
Give
me like half a cup
regular tea.
Yeah, give me a half a cup of unsweet tea.
Yeah,
because I think restaurants make sweet tea too sweet. My mom always made it with half a cup of sugar, not a whole cup of sugar.
Uh-huh.
So that's the household I come from. Ergo, I don't like
Yeah.
it as sweet as restaurants make it.
So if you like sweet tea, you might like this because
If
it
you-
tastes just like you're gonna have more. Phil's
I'm
having
surprised.
more.
I'm trying to. You know what? It is scratching an itch for you. Remember how I was carrying on about those tea flavored
Oh
ales?
right, yeah.
It has a very.
Ugh.
I'll say this: it's very heavy on the tea flavor, like it was over steeped almost.
Yes, but I don't like sweet. Like I don't like black tea anyway.
Oh, okay.
And I don't
It's
like.
not just black; it's also orange pico.
Well, sure.
It's
but-
a mix of black and orange pico. That's
Yes.
what like Lipton and Louisiana are made of. But-
Sure, but I don't like that either.
Mm.
And definitely don't like it super sweet because it is like a gallon of sugar to.
I don't even taste any fucking alcohol. Like I
Mm-mm.
could get so drunk off. Like it's
No,
too,
it's just sweet.
it's too sweet for me. But at the same time, I could see somebody getting white girl wasted on this shit.
Oh,
you know,
for fucking sure. Yeah. If you like, no, I need a palate cleanser. I need this other
Mhm.
Oberon to get rid of that.
and it's 5%, which is
Mhm.
more than some of the beers I've drank tonight. So
That's true.
yeah.
All right. So
I'm gonna have to tell. I'm gonna tell Alexis about this though. 'Cause she might love
she'll
it.
like it.
She loves really, really sweet tea, so she
Yeah.
might think this is the shit. You know?
All right. I'm gonna skip down to number 18 on the America's Greatest Movie list to Psycho.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think that's an important one. Everybody should watch.
Right.
I've seen it
I'm with you.
multiple times.
Also, the next one is pretty important. too, I
The
think.
African Queen.
No.
Oh no, All About Eve. Yeah,
Oh, next one down.
that is the next. Oh,
After
oh
Psycho.
shit. Yes, Chinatown.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was.
yeah.
on the
You
list.
lost yourself.
I
I don't
did.
know about. I've never seen All About Eve. I have seen African Queen. It's all
Yeah, I don't really care about either of those. Chinatown, though, I think I agree.
Chinatown's very important. I think.
And I actually think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is pretty important. I didn't watch that until I was an adult.
Yeah. I don't think
Um,
I've seen all of it yet. I don't
it's-
think I've watched it all the way through.
I mean, it's
I should.
based on a novel. And here's the thing: if you're, if you don't want to read a novel and you do want to watch the movie, watch the movie. Like, it's not going to kill you. I know people who are like, well, don't watch, the books are always better. Yeah, they
Sometimes
probably
they
are,
are.
but and
They're not
sometimes
always. Sometimes the novel. I've done both sometimes and been like, you know what? Some of the shit in the novel didn't need to be in there, and that movie was great. It just like got right to the point, So not always. Most of the time, I like the book better, but sometimes I have. I'd say number 22.
Number 22, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It's got one of my favorite lines in cinema.
And we just did our Chat GPT episode where we, of course, referenced it. I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
So yes.
That was from the first act when I quoted.
And there's I don't know that I would call this essential, but I'm going to mention it. E.T.
That was on the scratch off too, and I'm like, man, I don't know. That's kind of almost a take or leave for me. Like,
Part of the problem with E.T. and part of the problem with Star Wars too is that at some point, the creators of those things decided they needed to fuck with them. They needed to change them.
yeah.
So if you send a kid to watch E.T. right now,
He's not gonna
it's
see
gonna
the
be-
ET that you
It's
saw.
not the E.T. that you saw. And
Yeah,
same
yeah.
with Star Wars.
Right, yeah. And you always have to, you find yourself pausing it and
Mhm.
stopping and going, okay, now I need to tell you
Explaining
this right
it.
now. When I saw this movie, this scene was different because Han, he shot first.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying Greedo wasn't gonna shoot Han. He clearly was, but he was gonna run his mouth for a minute.
Yes, exactly.
He was
exactly.
a villain, so he had to monologue before he did the thing he was
Ex-
going to do, and that was the opportunity that the hero needs to get out of the thing.
Right. So
It doesn't make him. I mean, he is supposed to be a scoundrel. Also, we've established that.
That's true. Yes, he's definitely a scoundrel. But yes,
But what's just because the guy didn't shoot first doesn't mean he wasn't gonna shoot you. He was pointing a gun at you.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, if we both have guns and someone is going to shoot a gun at me, of course I'm going to fucking shoot him first.
Right.
I'm not going to wait to see what happens.
Oh, let me see if he blasts a hole in my abdomen before I shoot at him.
Of course not. Yeah, Han shot first for sure. right. I'm going to skip down unless there's some in here that you want to see. Number 31, Annie Hall. All right. I want to acknowledge the problematic nature of Woody Allen,
Uh-huh.
but Annie Hall was one of those formative movies to me.
Okay.
And I think Woody Allen is a shitburger.
Yeah.
I think he's a terrible person.
Right.
I will never watch any of his movies again.
Right.
But Annie Hall at the time when it came out, like I remember just when I saw it the first time, I used to quote Annie Hall's one boyfriend who was like, "Touch your heart with my foot." And I quote that all the time. And it's just so ridiculous. And I don't know why, but it's so stupid. That was an important movie to me.
Okay.
But I recognize that. So here's
I mean, I said Chinatown, and the guy made that's a creep too. So
sure.
Listen,
Absolutely.
we already had a whole show about cancel culture and
Mhm.
whether things were horrible.
When I-
Liking things is horrible, people.
Yeah.
Some
That's
of these
true.
movies are made by creeps, and you're just gonna have to like.
And Annie Hall, I mean, Woody Allen is highly problematic and
Sure.
don't watch any of his movies. But if you
But
already
that
saw
one-
it, like I can't put it away.
Well, I
Like,
haven't seen it yet, so
I
I'm never
wouldn't even-
gonna see it.
I wouldn't even say see it again. I wouldn't even say see it now. Like even though
Okay.
I think it was
Okay.
essential.
You're saying if I hadn't seen it, then don't see
Don't
it.
bother.
But if I had seen
Yes,
it,
then it would
I
probably
would
be
think it was
formative.
okay.
Yes.
I saw another one by a problematic person on here
Who
at
do you
some
got?
point. Oh gosh.
Who do you got? I want to mention this
It-
one.
Where was it? I thought oh, here it is right there. That one.
Oh, Birth of a Nation.
Problematic, but also very important.
Yeah, but 1915, yes, and yes, extremely problematic.
Extremely problematic, but also like kind of the first blockbuster ever, right? Like,
And we're talking 1915.
well, and also I'll tell you why I think it's important because so Spike Lee's production company is called 40 Acres and a Mule.
right.
And there's a scene in Birth of a Nation where they talk about during the Reconstruction period when black people were promised 40 acres and a mule,
Mhm.
right? So I
Mhm.
think that's kind of a reference in a way.
Absolutely.
You know, that's not the only thing I think. I mean, it's got some. It's important cinematically. What you just go into it knowing I'm not going to agree with this movie. It's just a thing I have to
yeah,
see.
and it's terrible. Like it's
Yeah.
very bad
right.
in what it is.
I mean,
for
so
sure.
is Gone with the Wind, though. It's also propaganda. For,
Oh, for fucking sure.
you know, but at the same time, also, you know, cinematically important. I guess you know.
Right. So Gone with the Wind is funny to me as a pop culture reference because there's a separate, completely different, completely local pop culture reference that from Gone with the Wind. One day maybe we'll play this video, maybe during the Dragon Con show. There was a video of a bunch of years ago, like a long, more than a decade ago, like a group of film students at UGA or something, or made this video about Atlanta, and it was like a tourist video of Atlanta. I think you've seen it
I've
because I
seen
show
Yeah,
it all.
yeah.
I share
I've seen it.
that link all the time because it was one of my favorite things. But one of my favorite parts is it's got this. It's like a film strip, and
Yeah.
they've got this like over exaggerated narrator as it clicks through the film strip.
Mhm.
And my favorite is the Margaret Mitchell house. Of course, Margaret Mitchell, we all know, wrote Gone with the Wind. But because the film has none of it's true. It's completely ridiculous. But in this, it clicks to Margaret Mitchell's house and says, Margaret Mitchell, the author of Herbie, fully loaded in TV's Jag. And I think that's the funniest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. Like TV's Jag. Who the fuck knows what that is? But it's funny as shit. I do want to mention A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. That's when I read the book and watched the movie.
Me too. Yeah, I was.
But I
a big
think the
fan.
movie's more better than the book, maybe.
More better indeed. But yeah, no, I liked the book. I liked the movie, but it was just so visceral.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it just,
I don't think you get that from the book, like the visuals of the whole thing. And
right.
no time for the old in and out right now, love. Only come to read the meter.
Exactly. But yeah,
A little bit of the ultraviolets.
to see it though is terrifying.
It's something else.
All right, this one I know you want to include.
What?
No question, Jaws.
Oh, for sure.
And I know
You're gonna
this
need
is
a bigger boat
Yeah. Well, and also you are terrified to go in the ocean.
because of Jaws.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. That was like probably the movie that affected my life in the biggest way, I would say, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. Knowing you, I agree. All right.
Number 53 affected me in the sense, in the way that it affected a fellow in Vienna named Falco, who then made a hit song that was such an earworm during that year.
So Amadeus, the movie.
Amadeus.
Which was what it starred F. Murray Abraham and
Tom Holt.
Tom Holt. Yes, and it was an impressive performance.
It was.
F. Murray Abraham didn't work for quite some time after that, and then he had some really big roles in the last couple of years, and then he got fired from those roles for being a complete dick.
Yeah.
So
I heard that. Yeah.
That just happened.
That just happened. Yeah, because he was on the last season of
White Lotus.
Yeah.
And he basically played himself because he got fired off of a show called Mythic Quest, which is quite good. It's on Apple TV. He got fired from that for inappropriate advances toward female co-stars and employees, which was exactly his character on White Lotus, though. His character was like the old man that was just a lech.
He wasn't as creepy as his son in White Lotus, though. His son was the worst.
Michael Imperial, because he could. Yeah, no, the whole show. That's a great show. It's not related to this, but it's a good show.
Yeah.
All right. I want to mention this, The Third Man in 1949.
Okay.
The only reason I want to mention that is when Matt was finishing up his undergrad, he took a film class.
Yeah.
And one of the first films they watched was The Third Man, and I'd never seen it before. But that is the film that inspired Hitchcock.
Okay.
So if it weren't for The Third Man, you wouldn't have any Hitchcock, any Psycho, anything. It's actually really interesting.
I need to see that then because I have not seen that. But
you should.
Yeah.
I had never seen it before. Yeah.
I mean, another creep, by the way.
another
but he's dead, so he can't get your money by watching his films. So there's that.
I think this is an interesting one on the list, and actually it's one I absolutely love. And I think for pop culture references, one of the most important scenes of film is Fantasia.
Oh, Night on Bald Mountain.
Well, Night on Bald Mountain, yes.
That's the best one.
It is the best one.
Because it's like, I throw my hair back, shake my nails.
But the one that everybody actually knows is The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So the whole thing with Mickey Mouse and chopping up the brooms and the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's actually, I think that movie is one of the reasons a lot of Gen Xers have anxiety.
Huh.
That scene?
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God. It makes me so anxious now.
Oh, okay.
But I realize that this is also one of the things that made me anxious.
God. So this is not going to be on the best movies list, but this is, you know what makes me anxious? Was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh.
That scene where he's going to two meetings in the same restaurant and he's Mrs. Doubtfire at one and he's himself at the other one.
Right.
Any kind of movie that has a scene like that where somebody's doing something that I know is going to ultimately fail.
Like a total farce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit makes me so antsy and I can't enjoy myself. I'm almost like, this is awful. This is just stressing me the fuck out, you know?
No, and I would like to, because like I said earlier, some of my pop culture references are things no one else would ever reference.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows, as you know, because we've talked about it a hell of a lot on the show and not on the show, is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yes.
And the whole point of the show, once or twice. The whole point of the show is that she's, dealing with mental illness and doesn't figure it out for about 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So the first 3 seasons are all these impossible situations that she puts herself in, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I love the show.
You know why probably Mrs. Doubtfire freaks me the fuck out is because I have a tendency to overcommit myself.
Mm-hmm.
To say I'll say I'm going to go to 2 things on Saturday.
Sure.
And then find myself unable to leave the first thing and know I'm going to be late to the second thing and then be freak the fuck out. Oh my God, now So maybe it plays into my own anxiety because I know I put myself in those situations all the time.
Sure. And
it's because of an inability to say no to people, to just say, hey, fuck it. You know what? I can't do your thing because I'm already doing a thing.
Sure.
I don't know.
So number 60 on the list, well, it isn't one of my very favorite movies. I think it is important. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think a lot of people find that required viewing. I don't know if you do.
I don't. I loved it when it was new,
Sure, that might be one of those things that's a little dated,
but
a lot of things are dated.
there's a new Indiana Jones movie coming out. And I will not be seeing it. I don't give a shit.
I might see it on streaming.
I don't care. I didn't see the last one. I couldn't care less.
I haven't seen any but the first two, to be honest.
The first, and the second one jumped the shark. I felt like it kind of got. I mean, honestly, the first one jumped the shark, but then when I saw the second one, I was like, okay, these are goofy, and I can't suspend disbelief for this shit. And then I kind of fell out of love with them, and I think I saw the third one, but I don't know why I saw it. And then I didn't care about anything after that. They've gotten consecutively worse as they've gone on. And so to me, at this point, I'm like, considering they've gone consecutively worse, why am I going to see the fifth one? Fuck it. It's so stupid. And it's nothing against Harrison Ford, who I appreciate.
Oh, no, I love Harrison Ford.
He's working his ass off right now at the end of his life, but I don't give a fuck. Not about this. And I don't actually think he gives a fuck about this.
No, I don't think he does either.
I think they should have called it Indiana Jones and the Grab for Cash. Anyway.
And although if you do want to see an amazing Harrison Ford current performance.
Oh yeah.
The Apple TV show Shrinking.
I love him in that.
Oh my god, he's
the
so
best.
Good. He's so good.
He's great in that, and he's really good in the Yellowstone spinoff.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. I like the.
But I like him the most in Shrinking because it's the most honest to God. Both of those things though were the most different he's been in anything he's ever been in. Right?
Sure.
I feel like most movies he's ever been in all his life, he's played the same character over and over again. And then suddenly here he is at the end of his life being different. So,
although apparently not with spoilers, but there was a scene in Shrinking where he was high. And apparently his start of his career was as a pot dealer.
I heard that. Yes. He was actually George Lucas's pot dealer. Yes.
Why is my pot dealer here? All right, I do want to mention this one, though. I do think this is extremely important to watch. Silence of the Lambs.
It is very important, yes.
And I love the whole story. I love the whole Hannibal mythos. I am not a horror fan, but I will watch all the Hannibal-related content.
Yeah. Because
it's just so good. But Silence of the Lambs in particular, to be fair, it's a little problematic.
I get you. Because the villain.
The villain is a man who wants to be a woman by wearing women's clothes.
Yes.
So it's a little off. That's not how trans works.
Yeah.
Nobody's mass murdering people. But at the same time, it is so important. It is such a good.
There's a big reference to that. If you're a fan of Kevin Smith's work in Clerks 2, there was a scene where Jay starts playing Goodbye Horses.
Yes.
Out in the drive-through of the movies, and he tucks his
right
jump, and he's doing the little dance, and he's like,
right,
would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
So it has been used a lot. Obviously, it puts the lotion on its skin.
There's actually a really good song by a band called the Greenskeepers called Lotion, which is about Silence of the Lambs, which it's on my Halloween mix, by the way, if people like Halloween mix.
Good stuff. I do like a good Halloween mix.
All right,
there's a shit ton of movies I don't care about.
Okay.
As you get to the end, actually, less of them I care about.
But hold on, let's see.
Got anything in the middle here that you want?
Manchurian Candidate I thought that was a great film.
All right.
You should see that. And it was good enough to remake. They remade it, but see the first one. You know what I loved about it? Creepy fucking Angela Lansbury. You get to see Angela Lansbury as a villain.
Yes.
Fucking hell, man. Like previous to this, I had seen her as Elvis's mama in Blue Hawaii. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then suddenly, she's being the creepiest fucking person ever. And I'm like, oh my God.
And then after that, she was Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe Murder, She Created. Because she's always there.
Always there. Who should we? Yeah, 100%.
Put two and two together, y'all.
All right, there's a ton of movies that probably you should watch. Rocky, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's a good movie. There are a lot of pop culture references from it, right?
For sure, Fargo, man. Watch that.
Oh, Fargo.
Yeah.
You got to watch Fargo. I want to mention the 1931 Frankenstein because pop culture wise, I mean, Frankenstein.
One of my favorite Saturday Night Live bits, actually.
Right?
Phil Hartman is Frankenstein.
Right?
Firebird. You know?
Right. So if it weren't for Frankenstein, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
It's also gay film culture because the director was out and gay in the 30s.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's very gay forward.
Huh.
But also, I mean, It's Alive, like those things, even though they didn't come directly from the Mary Shelley, like It's Alive, like that scene.
No,
but
and that's used in Weird Science and
yeah,
Rocky
it's used
Horror
in everything.
and fucking everything. That like forever will be a thing, right?
Here's what I want to mention, but it's also my least favorite movie in the history of movies. I know
seriously.
I hate this movie so much.
No,
but everybody else puts it on their essential list is Pulp Fiction.
Huh.
I hate Pulp Fiction. I hate Quentin Tarantino.
Really?
I do not like Quentin Tarantino at all.
All right.
As a human being, as a filmmaker.
Also a creep filmmaker, yes.
Oh God, yes. And also that like a shitty, terrible racist, like using the N-word in all his movies because it's edgy. Like that's bullshit.
He's I don't know. This is what if you want a good laugh, I will say this. Watch Quentin Tarantino. There's a YouTube clip somewhere of him on a black talk show talking up. I think it's Jackie Brown.
Shit, yeah.
And this is a funny thing about Quentin Tarantino. If he's in a crowd of black people, he affects a black accent.
Right, like somehow.
I'm surprised actually that Samuel Jackson didn't turn to him and say,
"No shit."
Say, "Q, what the fuck are you doing, man?
What the
What is going? What the hell is going on right now?"
I do not
because he's
him.
talking like he's like from the hood, the whole time, and you're like, the fuck?
That's not even code switching. That's literally appropriation. That's what we mean.
Yes, no,
I say appropriation.
I think he's problematic as hell, and at the same time, I like his work. So I'm not saying I'm giving him a pass. I totally recognize what a creep and fucktard he is. At the same time, I do like his work. I don't tell you.
That's fair.
I also like the work of Roman Polanski, and he's also
he's very problematic.
Very problematic. But,
like I said, Annie Hall is one of my all-time favorite movies. But would I watch it today?
You missed one or two things.
Did I?
You skipped on past because you didn't give a shit.
I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, you were done. It was Unforgiven.
Oh, Unforgiven.
1990. Right. Probably you said you like westerns. The best western ever fucking made.
It's not a bad one. Yeah. I don't disagree. It's not a bad
probably
movie.
The best one I've ever seen. That's best. Then Tombstone. Then maybe another Clint Eastwood movie.
I don't know. I'll tell you my my foray. This is why I like westerns. It's going to sound terrible, but it is totally of the 90s. The movies that got me into westerns were Young Guns and Young Guns 2.
Oh God. Regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. You can't be any geek off the street though. You got to be real handy with the steel, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
I don't know that quote because of the movie. I know that quote because of Warren G.
Right. Exactly.
FYI.
All right. There are two movies.
We sang that at our wedding.
Nice. There are two movies I want to mention before the show is over.
Okay.
And I'm sure we have a shit ton of other things.
Oh my God. It turns out actually this was quintessential movies. We didn't even get to anything.
Any other pop culture?
No. So we'll have to do all that.
That's true. We could
come back around.
We can come back around and do TV and
books,
other things.
Music,
books.
Whatever. I guess we've done music enough times. We don't really need to do that.
And we might do it again. But the two I want to mention, I wouldn't say they're essential in that they're the greatest movies of all time.
No.
But they have so many pop culture references, especially for our generation.
Sure.
The Sandlot.
Right.
Not an amazing movie, but if all of us know You're Killing Me, Smalls.
Also, I can't remember the artist's name, but she just released an album, and the name of the album is We've Been Going About This All Wrong, which is a quote from the fucking movie, because she said during the pandemic, she watched The Sandlot over and over and over again.
Yes.
If you know the name of the artist, you can post it here, and if you don't, you can look up on Spotify the album name. We've Been Going About This All Wrong, but I've heard a couple tracks off of it, and it's a really good album.
I don't know who it is, but yes, that makes sense because The Sandlot. Again, not a memorable movie, not even a great movie. I wouldn't put it
Only
on
thing
the
I remember
list.
was the big dog.
I
The
remember
big
that.
dog jumping up and grabbing the ball. You know?
Yeah, I remember that, and then I will, like, every day of my life will say, "You're killing me, Smalls."
I say it all. Actually, my little dogs. I always say, "You're killing me, Smalls dogs."
Yeah, exactly. And the other one that was formative to me, and I don't know if it is to everybody else, but oh my God, do I say things from it all the time, is the movie Johnny Dangerously. Oh, you
I don't
should
know this one.
Oh, go watch it
All
like
right.
immediately. It's part of the reason I watched it is my best friend in junior high school and early high school was a huge fan of Michael Keaton.
Okay.
It's a Michael Keaton movie.
Okay.
And it's about, like, it's a send up of gangster culture. So if
Okay.
you like gangsters,
I
you will
do.
like this.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's so
Fair.
many like little quotes from it. Like there's one that I do all the time. There's a part of the movie where he picks up the bad guy and he hangs him on a hook. He says, "Don't ever hang me from a hook. My mother hung me from a hook once." And like he says that like my mother did this once several times. It is fucking hilarious. And then that's where badges, we don't need badgers, we don't need no stinking badgers. That's
okay.
where that comes from.
The badges comes from was it Guns of the Sierra Leone or something? I think.
Yes.
Although I think it's a misquote I've heard, and
Yes.
And then it gets used all the time in various comedy films and stuff,
Yes.
But yeah. Oh, one of my weird ones. I quote a fair amount of Ferris Bueller, probably.
Sure.
I watched Ferris Bueller on a loop. Like I had the tape and I wore it out. Ferris Bueller and The Jerk are like the two movies I watched over and fucking over, right? Like I watched them until the tape wore out.
Sure.
And I bought a second copy of The Jerk after it wore out. And then I was very put out, but I'll talk about that some other time.
Oh my God, there's so many there's so many things we didn't even get to.
Oh yes.
I had a whole thing about all the quotes from Macbeth. Like literally 2 pages of just
Macbeth
quotes from Macbeth.
Yeah, Macbeth is
culture.
Speaking of, who made the best version of Macbeth ever? Roman Polanski. Again, a creep, but you should see the Roman Polanski Macbeth. Also, The Ninth Gate and Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby. All very good fucking films. I'm just saying, like, guy's a creep, but he makes good films.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you.
That's absolutely true. I mean, same with Woody Allen. He made great movies. I mean, Annie Hall is my favorite, but there are so many others, but he's a dick.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, like we have in our, like, Here's Bill. Obviously, that comes from Here's Johnny.
Right. Which is, that guy makes good films too.
Yes. Stanley Kubrick. Less, I mean, I wouldn't say he's not problematic because he probably is.
Oh, they all are.
I don't even know. They all are, but at least he didn't have
any
don't know
scandals.
About it.
Yeah.
And then there's some like non-movie ones that we'll save till later. So
yeah, we'll come back around.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again. Make it a periodic thing. I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's more than we could possibly do.
Yeah.
In the whole world. And we did it.
But anyway.
Guys,
go watch some movies. I don't know.
Go watch. Oh, shit. I meant to look up here. While you start our ending.
Yeah.
Let me look up next week's.
All right.
Episode.
Bill has opinions as engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless Laura agreed with him. Obviously, they don't agree on Quentin Tarantino or Woody Allen. But otherwise, sometimes they do agree. Anyway, they definitely don't reflect the opinions of our non-paid sponsor who doesn't have a thing to do with us. But do be sure to give them some money. And otherwise, be sure to like and subscribe if you're on Facebook. YouTube, sorry. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and
Instagram.
And hashtag Opinion Gang. If you say something you have a question, comment, concern, idea for another show. Anyway, that stuff. And then, tune in next week for what now?
Aging.
We'll be talking about that because I obviously can't remember shit.
We're closing it on 50.
Yeah.
So
I am very close. I'm about to join the AARP.
I'm 1 year behind you. So
yeah. So there you go.
Here we are. All right, folks. We will see you in 1 week. We're back for a while. So see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.